Hi guys, please hit the subscribe button and enjoy the content. Hi guys, so this week I played my first game of 10th edition, and in this video I'm going to give you my thoughts on the new edition. Now, a bit of background: I've played Warhammer 40k since 3rd edition back in year 2000, 1999-2000. So I played for a while. I did take a bit of time off. I got the 9th edition starter set, but I never actually played 9th edition with COVID and lockdown and all this. I never got round to playing it. However, I've got the Leviathan box, got the rulebook out of it, got the cards out of it, and we put a couple of armies together and we played a 1,000-point game. Now, I didn't take a video because where we were playing was quite noisy, so you wouldn't hear what we were saying anyway. So what I've done is I took a load of pictures, which I'm going to put up on the screen, and we'll flip through the pictures as I'm talking. So what I did was I took 1,000 points worth of Necrons, and my opponent took 1,000 points worth of Deathwing. Now, the thing that stands out more than anything is you get a lot more models on the table for the points cost. I think the reason for that is in previous issues, you'd have, say example, a Space Marine Devastator squad. It'd be 15 points per Marine, and then you'd pay points for the heavy weapons. So for example, you'd have a 5-man squad, which would be 75 points, and then if you give 4 of them missile launchers, to be 20 points each, so you'd add another 80 points on to that, so it'd be 75 and 80, you're looking at 155 points. However, in 10th edition, that doesn't happen. A 5-man Devastator squad is 120 points. Doesn't matter what weapons you give them, it's 120 points. And that's the same, it seems to be the same across the board. So it doesn't matter what weapons the model has on them, it's the same cost. So obviously you're going to tool them up with everything they can have, because you don't have to pay you don't have to pay the points for them. So because of this difference, you get a lot more miniatures on the table. Obviously it's Games Workshop doing their old, let's sell more models, because obviously if you had an army in the previous edition, you've now got an army that's worth less points, so you need to buy more miniatures to make back up to 2,000 points if that's where you want to play. However, another example is the miniatures that I've got on this table is, it's not 1,000, it's 955 points of Necrons. In 8th edition, I played 850 point game, which there is a video, turn by turn battle report up on that, which you will find in the link below. We'll put in the link in the description, so if you want to watch it. It's only about 5 minutes long, it's not long, but you'll see in that there was I think it was 20 warriors, Stalker, Cryptek, and the Lord. That was 850 points. This list was 950 points, well 955 points. It had Stalker, 20 warriors, Lord, 3 Wraiths, 5 Death Marks, 5 Lich Guard, 5 Immortals, 3 Scarab Swarm Bases for 950 points. It's barking the amount of figures you could get on the table. So that was the first thing. It was like, wow, this is crazy. For 2,000 point game, there'll be so many miniatures, it'd be crazy. So what we decided was we're just going to stick to 1,000 points at the moment. We're learning the rules, and even playing this 1,000 point game, we started at 2, we didn't finish till 7. Yet we did have a chat and flipping through the rule books and that. But until you get used to it, it's going to take a while to play. The actual setup actually took longer than I thought. We used the deck of cards you get with the Leviathan set, which has cards for deployment, cards for mission, cards for secondary objectives, cards for primary objectives. So you sort these out. You also have a gambit cards which we never used. So you sort all the cards out, you shuffle the decks, you pull one card for your mission, you pull another card for your deployment, and then you can pull a gambit card, and then you roll to see who's attacker and who's a defender, and what table side you want, and then the attacker can go through a deck of cards and choose his secondaries, and the defender does the same thing, goes through and chooses his secondaries. So for my secondaries, I chose Assassinate and I chose Behind Enemy Lines because I thought, I've got more units on the table than him. I should be able to get Behind Enemy Lines. No problem at all. I can't remember the mission we played now, but the mission, there was a rule in the mission where if an object was controlled, it was worth 3 points. But if the object was controlled and there was a character present, it was worth 6 points. So it worked out that my opponent managed to get 2 of his Terminator squads onto 2 of the objectives and was scoring 6 points off each of them objectives a turn. So he's getting 12 points a turn. And he beat me at 46 points to my 16 in the end of the game. However, the reason for this, I put this list together just to play the game. There was no cheese involved and nothing like that. It was just literally, let's have a game. And the units I took did not have anywhere near the AP value needed to deal with the Terminators. Dan, my opponent, I think in total I managed to kill four or five of his Terminators, and most of them were killed with the Stalker because of the AP -2 weapon on it. The Death Marks managed to get one as well, I think, using their synaptic disintegrators. But once he found out that they were -2 AP, he used some stratagems on them that reduced their AP when they were shooting, so it negated them a bit. So next time I play Necrons, I will be taking units with more AP on the weapons. So hopefully that will give me a better result. So I did make a few mistakes when I was playing a game. As I say, I definitely needed higher AP. I also didn't deploy my units very effectively. I put my Death Marks on the top of a building, thinking that's the best place for them. However, he didn't have line of sight for the first turn. Didn't have line of sight because they were on top of the building. Second turn I moved them down. Third turn I moved them across. It was only the third turn that they managed to fire and do anything. I also made the mistake of I put my Scarab Swarms on an objective, thinking they've got that one, so I can get points from that one. However, the Scarabs have an object control value of 0, so they can't control objectives, so they didn't actually score that objective. So that was another one mistake I made. The reanimation protocols, really good. In previous issues, it was just however many you'd lost, you just roll a dice and you'd get back up depending on what you rolled, but it was a 6 up or a 4 up if there was a lord there with a resurrection orb or whatever. But on this one, at the end of the turn, at the end of your command phase, you roll a d3 and 3 models get back up. However, if you attach your lord to your Necron warriors, then it can get back up at the end of your opponent's command phase. So you can bring them back at the end of yours, and you can bring them back at the end of your opponent's command phase. So you're just getting lots of bodies back up. Basically, they've got to delete the squad of all 20 bodies in one turn. Did manage to do it, and that's due to my bad rolling. Instead of bringing a load back, I rolled a 1, so only 1 stood back up. So he managed to finish him off in the next round of shooting. But he did use 3 of his Terminator squads to take that squad of 20 warriors out. If he had 2 blobs of 20 warriors, he would have struggled big time. Again, the warriors were fine. Against another army, they would have done okay. But with their weapons being AP0, they did nothing to the Terminators. They just shrugged off the shots and just passed all the saves. It's getting a bit frustrating, really, but it's the way. That's the way the game went. Overall, as I say, the game took roughly 4-5 hours, probably with faffing around and packing up, getting stuff out and packing away. That the game time was probably close to 4 hours for 1,000 points, which was a long time. But that was due to us playing a new game, a new version of the game more than anything, flipping through the rule book, using the cards. I did like the cards actually, because they were. I put them to one side on the table, and periodically I kept checking them to make sure I was keeping my eye on the objectives. That's something, especially in 7th and 8th edition, I used to forget what the objective of the game was. What I mean by that is, I used to just go, let's just kill everything. And you forget that, oh, hang on a minute, the objective is to have something over that side of the table at the end of the game. Damn, didn't do that. Lost the game. So, the cards being there is a good idea. The index cards are also good. They're available to download from the Warhammer community. So if you go on the Warhammer community website, at the top there's downloads. Click on downloads, go to Warhammer 40k, click on that, and then they'll all come up. You've got your points for the units, the core rules are there, little start guide there's little 4-page thing. That's quite a useful item. That it's got some of the key commands and keywords in it, and it's useful to have it next to you rather than flipping through the core rules all the time. There's then the index cards for each faction, which are they're quite big files. I think they vary from about 70 pages on some of them, right the way up to, I think the Space Marine one is like 340 pages because the amount of units they've got on. So there's like an index card for each thing. So again, that's really good. I had the index cards for the Necrons on the table, and I used them a lot. Every time I selected the unit, I got the card out so I could check what I needed to roll to hit, and then the rolling to wound is the same as it was in 9th edition and 8th edition. So if the strength's the same, it's 4s. If you're attacking stronger, it's 3s. If your attack's weaker, it's 5s. If you double the target's toughness, it's 2s. If the target's toughness is double your attack strength, then it's 6s. So that's the same. That's not changed. That is the one thing that has stayed the same. There's quite a few things that have changed. As I say, the setup with the index cards and all like this. A lot of things now, movement wise, have got slower. Like, I mean, I can understand really. They've made the table used to be 6x4, and they've reduced it down now to 44x60. So what they've done is they've reduced the speed of some units. So a lot of the Necrons I had actually moved 5 inches. Same with the Terminators, they have a 5-inch move, not 6. So there's a few changes that way, but all in all, it was a good game, and we'll have another one. And again, I'll let you know how that one goes, and if it speeds up any. So stay tuned, and I'll let you know how that one goes. Thanks for watching, or in this case, thanks for listening.